like, sis, your dad lived in Europe for 4 years. The day that he comes back, he takes you to brunch before brunch was even a thing. I could have told you your dad was gay. That's all I'm saying. Continue. I'm just saying.
She's got a point.
I'm Ari.
And I'm Asha.
And we're two friends who learned everything about life from the craziest school on television.
We'll be breaking down every episode of Degrassi The Next Generation and asking the question, does it still go there?
You're listening to
The Spirit Squad Rejects.
And we're back. Hello, Asha.
Hi, Ari. How are you?
I am great. We're going to review some Degrassi.
An unexpectedly crazy episode.
Yes. An episode that some might say didn't age well. Holy gay. This episode deals with a lot of gay related issues, gay adjacent issues, some might say, since storyline B isn't really actually a gay storyline.
And Marco's not even in it.
Excuse me?
Yeah, and our boy Marco isn't even here yet, but I look forward to when Marco joins the show. But why don't you break down the synopsis for A and B real quick?
Storyline B, Liberty's affection for JT enters the chat.
JT, you are beyond funny.
Yes.
Which is another couple I stan. But that's not even the main event of this storyline. So JT decides he's going to tell her a little lie to get her off her back. And it does not go over well. Storyline A, we already know that Ashley's mother is married to Toby's dad, but we never found out why Ashley's parents got divorced. There's a ton of, cue title of the episode, Secrets and Lies, that come up in this episode.
Come out.
And
So let's just dive right into storyline B.
But what are you drinking?
Oh my gosh, you are so right. Who am I sitting here? Well, tonight I am drinking a lovely glass of problematic Pinot Noir, as I've aptly named it. That is what we will be sipping on tonight to go along with this very interesting episode. What are you drinking?
Himalayan coffee. It really is like Himalayan coffee beans, with a dash of CBD oil because JT needs to calm the down.
JT needs to calm down. Ashley low-key needs to calm down. She's doing a lot.
Maybe you should tone it down.
Yeah, there's a lot. I get it. There's a lot of emotions in this episode, but also like, I guess 2001, we weren't as progressive as 2021.
So, like you mentioned, Liberty and JT, that is similar to Emma and Sean, that is like a Degrassi couple that we see progress throughout the years. We're building up to something big. So, I am kind of a Liberty and JT fan, similar to your hardcore affection for Sean and Emma.
Strike it down right now. I'm here for the Sean and Emma development.
Her unapologetic love.
And we do get like a dash of Shema at the beginning of the episode.
We do. And what's interesting is that this episode is really the first glimpse into JT. Like a true JT episode. This is really one of the first ones. So it's unfortunate that like this is what we're getting for JT.
I'm not gay, okay?
Not the best look, not the best way to start off, in my opinion. We start the episode, basically JT pulls some stupid prank in Mr. Simpson's class, and Liberty takes the fall for it. And then as the episode progresses, like she's kind of stalking him.
JT, you were supposed to meet me 7 minutes ago?
As many 7th graders are, a little overzealous and don't really know what to do with those emotions. So like, I know in 7th grade, I was very much like, I have a crush, we're gonna get married. Very intense. So her intentions are sweet. She has a crush. So JT is very obviously not off it.
I mean, she
Back
writes
her
a
off.
poem for him, and she writes a haiku for him in Miss Kwan's class.
Smile like a sunbeam, height subordinate to his heart, makes me lie awake.
Liberty.
Constantly complimenting him any chance that she gets. I think you made a good point, overzealous. I think that she is such a go-getter when it comes to work, when it comes to school, I should say, like her schoolwork, and she's just like an overachiever. And I think that like she doesn't know maybe how to separate that attitude, that mindset from like her, you know, romantic interests. So that's how she approaches like getting JT. It's very like, we're gonna be boyfriend and girlfriend, and this is that.
He wants to marry me.
So basically she comes to JT and she's like, oh, I want to interview you. Or I don't even think it was I want to interview you. It was probably I'm going to interview you for the Grapevine as like the student of the week.
Which
And
I don't think that was ever a thing before, but
yeah,
she made it a thing.
He's low-key hiding from her the whole episode because he
Yeah.
doesn't want to be interviewed with her. And then once the girls, because of course it took the girls to point out to him, Manny and Emma were like, yeah, you know that she likes you. That's why she's like on you 24/7. In storyline A, Ashley's dad comes out to her, and we'll get to that later in the episode. But as you guys know, as loyal listeners and watchers, Ashley and Toby are step siblings. Toby's best friends with JT. Toby spills the tea to JT, and he's like, yeah, Ashley's dad came out. Toby was so mature about it, and I'm not like a huge Toby fan, but it was just like a non-issue.
I don't know, JT. Some people are just gay, I guess. So how'd your interview with Liberty go?
And I think that that's nice and refreshing because it was like, I don't think, and I can't speak because I'm not in that situation, but I don't think that.
Share your thoughts.
I don't think that like everybody has to have a reaction to someone coming out, and maybe to a certain extent the best reaction can be no reaction. So if Toby's reaction was just like, okay, and let's move about my day or go along with my day, it was nice because it's like the same reaction as like, hey, I just did laundry today, okay.
yeah
and then just move
like,
about your day. Like
JT has a very unfortunate, you know, like I guess stereotypical 12-year-old boy reaction where he's just like, what? Like, I don't get it.
I just don't get it. How can Ash's dad, like, do it with other guys?
Even, like, with his friend, you would think Toby may change his tune or whatever, and Toby was just like, I don't know, like, he just does.
yeah.
It's kind
But
of like,
what
do you care?
It's crazy because JT and Toby are 12, right?
Mm-hmm.
JT is not having sex. So the fact that his reaction has to do with sex, it's like, he's like, two guys doing it. Girls are sexy. Guys aren't sexy. And it's such a strange reaction. I mean,
yeah,
I guess it's a normal reaction if you're just not exposed to that at all.
Yeah. Because, you know, I don't even feel like it's something you need to be sensitive about. It's just like, I guess if you've never even seen it, but then if you've never seen it or heard it, then where did you get that pantomime that you were doing later in the episode? And we shall get there.
Hey, Liberty girlfriend.
I haven't heard any of my gay friends use this
I've never heard
phrase.
this from any gay person.
Gosh, this was hard to watch. This is hard.
So JT basically comes up with the idea after low-key shitting on Ashley's dad. He's like, oh.
Remember that little talk we had about Ashley's dad and his orientation?
Yeah.
Well, you know what coming out did to his marriage. What if I came out to Liberty?
Which, I want to be clear, whatever, he's 12 years old. I was like, okay, whatever, you want to tell her. You're like, there are a million other better things that you could do to get her to just stop. Maybe just say like, hey, I'm not interested in you. Maybe let's start there. But whatever, so he goes and he tells JT goes and tells Liberty.
I like boys, not girls. Gay.
I think she just couldn't believe it. But what I did love, JT was like, yeah, like, I'm sorry to tell you this because I know this is never gonna happen. And she was killing me because she was like, oh, you thought I liked you?
Wrong-o.
New phone, who dis?
Me.
She really did.
Liberty has left the chat.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, she didn't even give him a response. It was just like the aim, like the door closed from when you logged off.
Goodbye.
But so, okay, great. If the storyline had ended there, I would have been okay. What I had an issue with was the step further that they took it, which was JT is then with Toby and they're in Mr. Simpson's class, and he's like, "Oh, I'm really gonna seal the deal right now." It like he puts on this like fake voice, and all of a sudden he has a limp wrist and he can't use his wrist.
Hey, Liberty girlfriend.
That was just so extra, so unnecessary, and I was just kind of annoyed. Similar, I think, in a way. I don't want to say similar because it's two different issues, but like kind of the way that you were feeling up towards the writers in the sex episode when Jimmy was buying the condoms with the unnecessary commentary was low-key how I felt about this. Because A, you didn't need to do that, because B, who was watching this show at that time? People that age, like 12, 13, that's who this is geared towards. So you're almost sending this message of like, this is what you're making being gay the butt of the joke, which is what I have an issue with.
Yeah.
Like that's at the core of what I didn't really like.
I definitely, as you were talking, I was equating it to like, someone's like, oh, you don't act black. What does it mean to act black? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why is that your thought when it's like, oh, I am gay, so I'm going to act gay. No, it's not. You don't have to. What does it mean to act gay? Like I never really understood that, and I felt like that was always like truly an offensive thing to say.
What he was doing was very similar to like I got made fun of. People called me gay. People called me fat in derogatory ways all the way back to elementary school. Like I'm talking like second, third grade. People would make fun of me because I was before I even knew what gay was. Like the way that he was acting was the way that people would like make fun of me because of the fact that like I'm 26 years old and I don't have a super deep voice. So when I was a kid, I had a very high pitched voice and it was a little feminine. That's sort of how people mocked me. So I felt like it was like kind of unnecessary. It didn't add anything to the storyline. You were just making like being gay the butt of the joke. And then like, that's what you're sort of like perpetuating to like 12-year-olds who are going to watch the show. And I get that they had Ashley's dad, who that was sort of the juxtaposition, but it just didn't add anything to the storyline.
The first time I saw it when I was younger, I was like, oh, that's so funny. So JT, he's hilarious. He's an actor. But now watching it, like you said, does not add anything to the storyline. Makes no sense for him to be acting like that. It was just rude, but that was not the way to do it.
It's not like, at the end of the day, it's not that deep for me. Like I get it. It's just it was like whatever. I just think that there's a way that they could have done it where like it could have maybe been funny, or they could have presented it in a way that was just different. And I just felt like I'm strictly commenting on the way that they went about doing that I just didn't really particularly care for. But I don't want to seem like I'm like so offended and whatnot. Like, no, I'm not. I'm just like, you didn't need to do that.
You know what was inconsistent about it as well? He tells Liberty, no one else knows. You're the only person that knows, keep it a secret. But then in front of Toby, he's acting that way and then puts his arm around Toby. So Liberty probably, like, obviously she's hurt because, you know, she had a crush, and her crush in her mind is never going to like her because he doesn't like girls. There's a guy that I like that doesn't like me, and that's upsetting, which I get. On the other hand, she probably was also thinking like, I thought I was the only one that knew your secret, and now you're like flaunting it in my face in front of Toby. It just like, that was like inconsistent. And then Liberty leaves upset.
And I also want to be very clear that I'm not being like anti, like overtly feminine mannerisms or anything like that, because I have very feminine mannerisms and I, you know, talk a certain way, act a certain way. Like I was just saying earlier, I should have worn my hat that literally says, let boys be feminine. Period. Whatever you identify and whoever you are at your core, own it. I love that. I'm talking strictly about the fact that like, this is a young boy who is trying to put on an act of what he thinks being gay is. You're obviously doing it in a mocking way because you had an issue with it 10 minutes ago when Toby told you about it.
So Liberty goes up to JT after school.
No, but wouldn't it be great if you came out in the grapevine?
What?
Well, as part of the interview. To help other kids struggling with the same issue.
I don't want to get into how that can be taken two different ways. I just want to
Problematic
believe
on both ends.
Yes. I just want to believe that she meant that in the nicest possible way, where it was like,
yes,
if you come out, maybe other people will feel like they have the courage to come out. And JT just decides to tell her, or like be honest with her, I'm not gay. And she's like, so you lied about being gay. You're not into me. You could just tell me that you're not into me and I can handle it.
Am I really that horrible? If you didn't like me, you should have just said so.
I feel bad because that's how it ended. That's the last scene we see with the two of them. Yeah, because we have talked about in previous episodes that Liberty is very annoying. But she's very forward, and the initiative that she takes then can definitely help her in her adulthood. And like she's going to suffer a lot of like people that are like Liberty, that are very forthright and are very honest about their feelings and honest about what they want and taking initiative. They're going to deal with a lot of pushback, but like she's a very determined woman. She can't read signals, obviously, because JT was obviously not into her, but I do feel bad for her. I feel bad that it ended that way, and it just made me not like JT.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and I don't dislike JT, so it's just like overall as a character, I actually like him. I just think it's like unfortunate that this is really the first like JT storyline that we get. Now, storyline storyline A, or storyline gay. See, I can flick my damn wrist all I want, and JT can't be out here flicking his wrist.
Period.
Storyline A is all about Ashley. Ashley's dad is coming home from Europe, and she's happy until she finds out he's gay. If you peep, every time they start to talk, like when they first start talking about being gay, it's he's gay. Like they whisper everything. Like if you say it too loud, then you'll also become gay. Obviously, we know that Ashley's mom's not with her dad. He's been away. The first scene opens up with her in the car with him. He seems like he's about to tell her something, and then he goes,
Ashley.
Yeah?
Nothing. Just see you tomorrow.
When she gets home, she's all happy, go lucky. She talks to her mom. Her mom's like, did he tell you anything? And she's like, obviously, that gets the ball rolling in Ashley's mind, but she blows it off, doesn't think too much about it. Ashley's dad comes to school to talk about mass comm / wartime stories, and all the girls are like,
Father schmother, your dad's hot.
And they ask what happened between her mom and her dad, and Ashley doesn't really know. Paige is like, well, maybe they'll get back together.
They were thirsty for the dad.
Oh my gosh.
Bye, Mr. Kerwin.
Ashley and her mom go back inside. They're washing dishes together because that's just what mom and daughters do. Her mom's like, your dad's so charming, and the older he gets, the more handsome he gets. And so then she asks questions like, well, why did you guys divorce? And then her mom didn't want to answer. And then she makes the joke, oh, what is he, gay?
And
her mom's like, it's not a joke. Your father's gay. And then zooms in on Ashley's face.
They did the exact same zoom effect that they do on Simba when the stampede is coming. It wasn't that dramatic.
I can't. It wasn't.
Simba thought that he was going to die. You found out your dad is gay. Chill.
Ashley was stressed, pressed, and depressed. So, so the next day of school, Ashley's still upset. So then Paige comes up to the table, and Terry and Ashley we're talking, and Paige is like,
I want to talk about something too, concerning your dad. I'm sure this isn't the case, but have you ever wondered if maybe your dad's gay?
Ashley has a wild reaction to that. And then throws the chocolate milk in Paige's face.
I'm not. Just better mind your own business for once, Paige.
And she's like, why don't you mind your own business, bitch? She doesn't say bitch, but
She said it
He
with her
walks away.
actions. Like, to throw a drink in someone's face, that's like reality TV fight type of stuff.
Oh my God. I thought this was a classy party.
That's dramatic. She threw an entire drink in her face.
What the writers chose for Paige is for this to be her one moment where she was actually being authentic and empathetic and really trying to, in her own kind of messed up Paige, Michael Chuck way, be there for Ashley. Because this is where we find out that Paige's brother is gay. Because she's like, I was only trying to help. My brother's gay.
For once so far, I don't think her motives are messy. I think I just am like, maybe I get where she was coming from, but you didn't need to go up to her and be like, I think your dad is gay.
Exactly.
But so that happened. That's so dramatic to me, but she throws a drink in Paige's face, and then her dad shows up to school and they have a talk. And
you know what I like that he says? He goes, it's not your fault. Like at the end of what you said, it's nobody's fault and it's not wrong. It's just the way I am.
Yeah, for sure. And what annoyed me though was like when he was saying all this, like she seemed like she was like cool and finally on board. And then she was just like, well, have you been with men? And he's like,
Mostly just one man, Christopher.
The guy we went to the zoo with that day when I got that horrible sunburn?
Mm-hmm.
He left us for him.
Ash, it's not that simple.
Then she like loses it. And I'm just like, oh, so it's okay if your dad is gay, but like God forbid he has to be by himself. God forbid he's with someone, then you're gonna start popping off. But I get it, like it was a lot to process, I guess. And her thing was like, she's met this guy before and didn't know that that was her dad's boo. So
the way I took it was that you left our family because you fell in love with somebody else. Not the fact that you fell in love with another man, but you fell in love with somebody else that we had a relationship with, that we knew. So it's kind of like me finding out that my boyfriend leaves me for a friend, like a mutual friend of ours. It's not the same situation, but that's how I sort of equated it.
But is that like, what happened though? Because I didn't think that was the situation. I thought that it was, I thought that she was saying when she has visited her dad in Europe, because that's where the lover lives. Like, I thought she was saying like when she visited her dad, that guy was there. I didn't take it that like the dad left the mom for him.
He left us for him.
You know what I'm saying? No. Like it seemed like the dad left to figure his shit out and along the way met this guy. Like it didn't seem like they knew him with, like it didn't seem like when the mom and him were together, they knew this guy, like he was a mutual friend and they were all together.
Dad, we had him over for dinner in our house.
And then the dad
maybe
left.
I misinterpreted that. I thought that they were friends at first, her dad and her partner, and then they became more than that when he decided, then when he realized that
I didn't take it like that.
That's how
we had two very different that's crazy.
Maybe we should rewatch it to see, because that was my interpretation.
Comment down below. We want to know, what are your thoughts? What do you think actually happened? But yeah, so she then tells her dad that she wants nothing to do with him and she wants to cut him off. I mean, was it shocking? No. She's a teenager. She has a lot of emotions. Again, we've said this before in past episodes. A lot of them don't know how to deal with their emotions, and they either act up or act out in a way that is like inappropriate just because they don't know how to like process stuff. So this could be that case, but it's just like unfortunate. But the true hero of the story, as per usual, Miss Queen Terry. And we found out at the beginning of the episode that Terry's mom has passed away, so it's just her and her dad. She, I think, put things into perspective.
My mom died, Ash. She's never coming back. But you have your dad back. Because you have a choice. I don't. Don't make the wrong one.
And we didn't really get a resolution because after Terry said that, it was just a dramatic zoom in on Ashley and then fade to credits. You know, I like to think that hopefully that hit home for Ashley and it, you know, put things into perspective for her, that it's like, yeah, you're mad about this, but like your dad, you still have a dad who doesn't seem like he's the absolute worst. He took you to brunch.
Yeah, come on now. mean, I'm here for it. Come on.
Took you to brunch, signed you out from school to have a chat with you about this. Didn't even like wait, was like, oh no, I'm gonna take her out of school. We're gonna have a conversation about this. So you're gonna sit there and be like, oh, I'm gonna cut him off. He's dead to me, when your friend, your best friend's mom actually is dead. That's all I'm saying.
All good points made. Terry is the hero we don't deserve.
Shiro.
The Shiro.
Terry is the Shiro. She is the voice of reason. She is everything. It's time to Degrassi Go There. Cue the music. It's time to Degrassi Go There. Yeah.
So what part of the episode Degrassi goes there for you?
I think the conversation with the dad, because keeping in mind this is a show made for teenagers, I think that's a pretty bold move to have that be an episode where it's like one of the kids finds out that their dad is gay, and I'm here for that. I'm here for that storyline. I think it kind of does go there. Yeah, to hear her say like she wants to cut off her dad, she wants nothing to do with him, that is relatable. I have had people want to cut me off and, not want anything to do with me because I'm gay. And here we are. And I am feminine as F. I will keep doing me. I will always be me. And if you don't like it, there's the door.
I said what I said.
So I also feel Ashley's dad. And you know what? It went there. Degrassi goes there. Thank you.
That's my friend. That's my friend. I have nothing to add. I know I'm supposed to have a Degrassi goes there moment, but like,
she wants to end it.
I just want to end it. No, I'm just kidding. No, the part that goes there for me is probably this. My voice like left. I feel like they're like the hope that her dad and her mom would get back together may still be there, and because it's 2001 and there's not enough infomercials about homosexuality.
Hilary Duff wasn't out here doing campaigns saying like,
when you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say?
Knock it off.
I forgot about those commercials because they were lit.
What if every time something was bad, everybody said, oh, that's so girl wearing a skirt as a top?
And that girl was so upset.
But word, yeah, you're right. In 2001, it wasn't like that.
And I can see how there may be like I said, she probably still has the hope that her parents are gonna get back together, even though she found out her dad was gay. Maybe she thinks it's a choice. Maybe she thinks he's choosing to do this. That's just a possibility. Maybe she doesn't have the understanding of what it means. And the fact, like what solidifies it for her is the fact that he is with another man, which means they're not going to be this nuclear family like they once were before. That's awful for the dad to feel like, because of what I am, like now my family doesn't want anything to do with me.
We've really been sympathetic to Ashley, but like to come from the dad's perspective, that's fucking rough. That is hard to do. As I was closeted, you know what I mean? Like for 19, 20 years. And that was really, that like caused a lot of trauma to a certain extent, honestly. To be, however, he's in his 40s, close to 50. It's sad that he, felt like he had to be in the closet for that long. I didn't know when it was going to happen in the episode, but I literally had a pit in my stomach because it made me so nervous. Because I was just like, because it was taking me somewhere. It was taking me back.
Can I share?
Is hard.
Is it okay if I share like when I found out about you?
Oh yeah, I don't care. Yeah, go for it.
I found out because you had put it on Twitter, and basically you were like, listen, this is what I am. Fuck y'all for
take it or leave it.
All this like, yeah, like it was that, like, that's how you didn't come out to me, but that was how I remember you coming out. I remember my only thought was like, well, why didn't he tell me? But a lot of people were like, you didn't know? And I was like, well, no, because I have I don't even know what I am some of the time.
But I think that you are, I'm just going to put a pin in that real quick. I think that you are one of the few people, you genuinely don't like care. Like in a way that you just don't even think about it. Like you're just like, oh, I'm not going to make assumptions on anyone.
Yeah.
And I admire that. But when we were in
that's
high school, like most people, you know what I mean, made their assumptions, and you genuinely to this day, and I don't think that you're just saying that, you're genuinely like, no, I really did not know.
no, dead ass. Like, unless he tells me, like, I'm not going to assume that, not because there's anything wrong with it, because like, if he's not, he might be offended. If he is, he doesn't want to tell me yet. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
When I found out on Twitter, I don't even think that I approached you about it. And I was like, oh, why didn't you tell me? Like, it just sort of gradually came into conversation. But I remember in that group chat, like, people were like, oh, did you see Ari's thing? Blah, blah, blah. Why didn't he tell us? And I was just like, why are we talking about it amongst ourselves? Let's talk about it with him if we feel that strongly about it. But
I think people like want to make it personal. And maybe that's the reaction that Ashley's having now. She's making it personal. But there's a lot of that goes behind it, you know, making that decision. And I understand when people don't want to come out because they're not comfortable with it. And whenever you feel like you are ready to let people in, I feel like we need to rebrand it. Karamo, who I love and adore, I read his book, and he talks about, like, I want to say the phrase that he uses is letting people in, because you don't need to like come out if you don't feel comfortable with that.
It takes the power away from someone else of accepting or denying you and says, you have the power again. If you don't want to come into my life because I've let you know who I am, I'm going to close that door, and I'm still going to be in the house that I built, which is my temple, and I'm going to love myself.
It's not everybody's business. It's your business.
What you decide to do with your partner, it's no one's business.
When you want to let certain people in, that's absolutely okay too. The fact that he was ready to come out to his daughter, which is like, that's huge. As hard as it is on Ashley, it is 200 times harder for her dad. Then to have that reaction from her, it's kind of like, that's rough. And I've had that reaction. I've had that reaction times like 300. So that is tough, especially if it's someone that you think is going to be in your, you know, in your court, and you're like always on your team, and they're not. That's rough. So this episode, Degrassi freaking goes there. It goes there.
This is an important episode. Obviously, we both have strong opinions about it, about how it could have been handled better, or, you know, but I think that it was still important to talk about. I think that in 2001, it was important. I think in 2021, it's equally as important, just because there's more exposure to that, because it's still a thing that people are dealing with. And, you know, we're not going to perpetuate those negative connotations and those negative thoughts that people have towards the LGBTQ plus community. And,
which, to go back, because I feel like I was a little harsh on JT, let me just end the episode by saying, going back, I guess in retrospect, what they were trying to do was because it probably at the time was, I don't want to say taboo, because things like Will and Grace and Ellen were already out at this time in 2001. But for a teen show, teens always react a certain way to things. So maybe in retrospect, what they were trying to do was, you know, have this deep storyline that has to do with gay issues, and then have this other storyline that was like really just like light and fluff, and you know, so that it's not super deep, and then people can still digest it and not maybe be like homophobic towards it. The juxtaposition of this, the thing that's really deep, and this like jokey way of talking about it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they were trying to do. What a great episode. Like I said,
that's awesome.
I think that this episode, opened a lot of conversations even for us. Like we had little tangents that took us places that I think were really interesting.
I think it's cool also that we have a like report back to us. Tell us what that scene actually was talking about, because we don't know.
Tell us what the scene was about. Tell us if you watched, like, what Degrassi goes there for you. Also, we want to hear your opinion. If you disagree with something we thought, if you agree, or you just want to share, like, let us know. We love comments. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. You know the drill. Comment, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, and all other things Degrassi related. Till next time, you've been rejected.
Her dad comes to school the next day to talk to her class about, it's mass communications. That's what he's talking about?
But that's just me guessing. I'm also gay, so what do we know?